I didn't even realize I wasn't there. Hi, hello, welcome back to another live. My name is Laken, and I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to chat all about life, planning, goals. It's a little bit chaotic around here right now. So I appreciate you bearing with me, but I'm excited to be here today because I think that this topic is incredibly important. So let's start with the question that we always start with, which is what is one small win that you have to share from the last week? If you're here live, please say hello in the chat. And if you are part of the replay fam, please say hello down in the comments and let us know what your win is down there in the comments. Whew, as I take a deep breath, my win is just taking it one day at a time over here. If you follow me on Instagram, I shared this over there yesterday. It's been a week over here. My mom, who usually helps out a lot with Lila, watching her while she is out of town this week. And we are also in the midst of a nap transition. I got so many sweet Instagram DMs in response saying that like the 2-to-1 nap transition is a doozy. And I'm just exhausted. And I think I already think trying to get as much work as I thought I was going to get done this week, like during her naps and before she woke up, after she went to bed, etc. While my mom was gone, was over ambitious. Throw in the nap transition, and it is basically feels like impossible. And so I have just kind of had to let go of everything else that was on my list for work this week, besides literally like last night's community call and and this live. And then I need to finish getting the podcast edited. Otherwise, like I'm just letting it go. So one day at a time over here. Just keep chugging along. All right, let's see what some of your wins are. Your number one priority done each day. I love that. Love that you pick a number one priority. I think that is tough for a lot of us. So that's amazing. My living room has stayed clean for more than a day. I love it. Is it snowing? Oh my gosh, no. It's like does it look, it is dirty. The window is dirty. It's not snowing. It's like 45 and sunny maybe. Finally transferring your photos from your phone to your hard drive. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Props to you on that. Starting your new thyroid supplement. Was wondering when she'd hit that transition. Figured it'd be soon. Yeah. That's yes. All right. The Plan With Me that you watched yesterday, keep in mind that Plan With Me was Monday, the video that went up Monday. That Plan With Me was from a month ago, give or take. And so like things change very regularly. It will be interesting and exciting during Vlogmas when things are a lot more real time. Like on a regular basis, it's just for my mental health, like things have to be done super far in advance. And I think that they still provide value, and I hope you do too when they're that far out. But during Vlogmas, it's going to be like a 2-day turnaround. So you'll be able to see in real time and the planning in those videos. Made plans for your mom to come visit for Thanksgiving and see your new apartment. Jennifer, I love that. Oh my gosh. Editing 3 chapters of your novel. You keep going. Organize your December daily supplies and have started planning some foundation pages and pieces. I love it, Monica. I'm going to talk about my December daily in just a sec. It looks snowy in the background. Yeah, no, it's just a dirty mirror combined with like the way the lights are set up and it's reflecting. Yeah. Also, I just realized you can see the light bulb in that little mirror. It's funny. I have a blue light bulb shining on me because for whatever reason, the camera on my computer is very yellow. And so the blue light kind of offsets that a bit. Got your budget for October closed out. Amazing. Gosh, I love hearing all about your wins. Okay, let's quickly move into reading. I don't have a ton of reading updates, if I'm being honest. In terms of fiction, I've read nothing. This percent is exactly the same it was last week. Part of that, I think, is I've just been exhausted. But by the time I get into bed, I just want to go to sleep. And so I wonder if I really do truly want this to be something that I prioritize. I'm going to potentially have to find a different time of day to do it because it's not happening in that window. Part of me is tempted, like, do I just let it go for the rest of the year? But I know I mentioned this on a number of lives that I really am determined to get through this particular book before the end of the year. And then if that's it in terms of fiction, that will feel good. But it's been a lot. And then nonfiction, I'm still checking on the audio. I am 13%, so not a huge jump from last week. I don't even think I included their percent last week because I was like 2% into it. So I made progress. So far so good. I ended up buying this because the library didn't have it. So it didn't matter what the weight was. So I don't feel like I'm necessarily in a rush. It's funny because when I get books from the library and they're like, you have to finish it in 3 weeks, like I'm more determined to get to it. I also have in the background had something else on, which when we get to the goals, I'll share. And that's kind of been slowing that down as well. Oh my gosh. There's a great meme that's a toddler saying, good luck getting all your stuff down. Now I don't nap anymore. I always feel a bit sick when I see it. My children are 8 and 12 years. Yeah. I mean, it obviously she still has one nap. It's now one nap instead of two, but it's less cumulative hours. And then the awake time is just a different animal than it was before. It's hard to explain. And I'm exhausted. Like the awake time is exhausting. And so when I get to that nap, I'm just like I can't even talk. Like I can't function, let alone work. So yeah, it's a lot. I highly recommend The Unplugged Hours, Cultivating a Life of Presence, Digitally Connected World. Oh my God, Allison, that sounds like a fantastic book that I absolutely need to read. Just finished Heartless by Marissa Meyer and Alice in Wonderland retelling about the Queen of Hearts. I have heard of this series. Marissa Meyer is the Twilight author, right? I think that's right. Jennifer, I don't know if you were on the live like maybe a week or two ago where I mentioned that one of the things I'm thinking of, and I'll share more details in a video coming in December, that I'm not necessarily planning to do. Oh no, she wrote the Cinder series. Okay, that's right. Stephanie Meyer. Yeah, close enough. People with the name Marissa or Stephanie are like, it's not the same. Same last name, guys. No series in 2025. No fiction series in 2025. I finished listening to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It's the first book I finished in a while. I really liked that book. I thought that was a great book. Awesome. Okay, let's move into my goal update, which will answer some of the questions or not answer questions. It will shed some light on the progress that I've made on reading. So first off, I did a face mask last week, so that felt good. Check that off. Then what I've been listening to a lot in the background is the December Daily Prep Day videos. So I mentioned this in the goals video that I did not participate this year in the actual December Daily Prep Day, but that I wanted to watch all of the videos and like consume all the content because for $5, look at all those little gray circles. That's how many videos you get for $5. And so I wanted to listen/watch those because some of them you really have to watch. Like some of them is more Q&A style and you can listen. Some of them it's like they're doing crafting and things and you need to watch it. But I would have them on while I was working on my December daily. But then I was so, y'all, this is like literally momentum at its finest. I was so on a roll and I just wanted to keep going and finish it that I was doing it when I was getting ready and I was doing it when I was folding laundry, right? The times that I would normally listen to an audiobook, I was consuming December Daily Prep Day videos. The good news is I finished them. Now I did skip 5 and 6, and I mentioned this last week that I was likely going to do that. One was about stamping, which I just do not stamp. I'm way too much of a perfectionist I don't even like saying that anymore because I feel like I have let go of a lot of my perfectionist tendencies, but I do still have some. And stamping is one of those that I will not be dipping my toe in because I feel like it's way too easy to mess up. It's also just like a whole nother additional set of supplies that I don't need. And in fact, I'll get to that in a second. The other one was about stitching, like sewing, which again, I said this last week, I can like sew a button, but I'm not going to sew in my scrapbooking. So I skipped those because y'all, life is too short to watch things that don't apply to you. You do not need to be a completionist. Cross them off, but watched all of the rest of them. So I am really excited that I finished those. While I've been watching those, I have also made significant progress on my actual December daily, y'all. I'm just going to skip over the weeklies. I'll touch on those next week. But you can see that all except for one day, and that's literally because that Monday I felt like I was trying to like get back on track after we had as if the nap transition was enough. We also had we had an illness the last week. So, um, anyway, I have done it like every day for the last however many days, and I've made so much progress. I have 1 day left, literally just Christmas Day. That's it. And then I'm done with 2023, which is so exciting. I know there was a lot of, um, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like questioning the fact that I didn't finish 2023 and was I going to go back and do it? Was I even going to do it this year because I didn't finish last year? And I have to say, I understand not doing it last year. I get it. Or I understand not finishing. And I reflected a lot on whether it was important to me to still do. And I decided that it was. And now that I've finished 23, even more so is it important for me to do. Going back and looking at on all these little memories, all these pictures of baby Lila. Also, y'all, I didn't realize how bald my baby was until I look back on it a year later. In last year's December daily photos, she is a bald little tiny peanut. And I'm just so thankful. Is my 2023 on the simpler side? Yes. There are some days where it was literally like one journal card and one photo and no embellishments. And that's fine. It is what it is. But I'm so glad that it's almost done and I will have that to look back on. And I have learned I've been doing this. It was 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This is my 6th year. So this is my 5th. 2023 is the 5th one that I'm finishing. And you think at this point I would have known what supplies I like to use. And I do. I do when I'm buying from Ali Edwards. I know what I want. But even more so now, I kind of want to go to Michael's. And of course, as I was thinking this, Michael's read my mind and sent me a coupon, my email. Sneaky. And so I want to go to Michael's and get some just simple stuff. I use a lot of stars and a lot of hearts. And I know I'm not going to use anything that's not a Christmas color, but I could go get gold, silver, white, black. I mean, if they have red, green, and just get some basic, those kinds of embellishments. Cause that's what I lean towards most. And because here's what I noticed. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm not getting this out articulately. That's a word, right? A lot of my stories last year were not Christmas related at all. And this has always been true. I'm not doing something holiday theme-y every day for 25 days. That's just not the case. But even more so last year, I told a lot more stories that were just everyday life. And so that's why I wanted more kind of generic embellishments as opposed to all the specific Christmassy ones. I love y'all, these little Santas that she had last year. I love these little guys. I think that all these little different Santas, I think these are so cute. But I didn't use them because I don't know what I would have used them on. I mean, I did tell a story about going to see Santa and I think I used one on that story, but anyway, I feel like I'm rambling on. This is not the topic. And those of you who don't care about December Daily don't care about this. All that to say, I'm almost done with 23. And then I have made a little list of a couple of other, where did it go? Oh, my list went, of a couple other steps that I'm going to do to help set me up for success for 2024. So one of those things is to actually open up and organize my new supplies. That's one of them. One is to potentially go to Michael's and get some generic embellishments. One is to set up my new photo printer. That is one of the things I'm changing this year to help me commit to following through this year, is not having to go get the photos from Walgreens. When I didn't have a baby and I was on my own, and when I lived in New York, where frankly, it just is closer. The photo, the Walgreens in New York was just closer to our house than this one is. And so I got a photo printer. And then I could have sworn there was one more thing on the list. I know I can't remember what it is. I have it written down. I just don't know where it is. So those are the things I'm going to do to help set myself up for success. And so I probably won't have near as many check marks on the December daily section, which is fine. It was never my intention to do it every day. And I'm shocked I've done it every day thus far. But I think the other component of this is during her nap, when I haven't had the capacity to do actual work, I've been doing a lot of December daily because it just relaxes me. So Congrats on finally making it through 2023. Thank you. I mean, I still have one more, but I'm very, very close. Someone once told me that done is better than perfect. It is. Sorry, you don't need to look at this anymore. Finish is better than perfect, and you can always go back and add them later. I totally can, or I'm just going to let it go, to be honest. Like, it's enough. Like, what I did was enough. And it will be very representative of this season when I go back and look on 2023, and it's a lot simpler than other years. Like, that will make sense. Yeah, knowing myself is key. And I have learned a lot, obviously, in the years that I've done it, but even more so, maybe not knowing myself is key, but knowing what's important to me is key. Being able to print your photos at home is a game changer. Yeah, I'm afraid. And so what photo printer I got, Linda, I'll link it afterwards, although I can't vouch for it. This is funny, actually. So I went to Amazon someday. That's not true. I wish I don't have a car. And so I don't know if there's anything within walking distance that I was going to go buy a photo printer. My mom's out of town, who usually drives us if we need to go somewhere. So I went to Amazon to look at the options. And as I'm like scrolling through the options, one of them says, you purchase this item on whatever day. Now, obviously, I share my Amazon account with my whole family. Is that just us? Or I feel like a lot of families do that. And so I, of course, went to our orders to be like, who ordered this photo printer? And it was my future sister-in-law ordered it for somebody as a gift. And so I was like, is this like, do you recommend this? And she was like, yeah, totally. So that's what I did. I bought the one that she bought as a gift, and it's still literally sitting in the box. I haven't opened it yet because I had all the photos for 23 already printed. That was a key also, I think, in helping me get it done, is I'd already planned out all the stories and had all the photos printed. I just hadn't actually put them down yet. So I can link it, but note that I haven't actually used it personally yet. Somebody else I know has used it. And I will obviously report back on it when I start using it during Vlogmas. I did not get one I just got one that can print 4x6. So if I want 6x8 photos, I will still have to send them to Walgreens. But I was looking at my album, and I think I did it 3 times last year. And so like for those 3 days, like I'll go to Walgreens to get my photo. That didn't seem worth it to me to invest. The price jump from the ones that print 4x6 to the ones that print 6x8 were huge. Because it's not 6x8, right? It jumps from 4x6 to 8x10. And it was a huge price jump. And so I was like, no, I'm going to get the ones that print 4x6. I'll do that at home. And then if I need to go get the bigger ones, I will. I think I've mentioned this in a few places. Sorry, we're on a December daily tangent here. The other decision that I've made to help me with 2024 is I will not be filming process videos during Vlogmas. I'm going to share things about December daily. I'll share my organization. I can flip through 23 if you're interested. I can flip through 24 at various times, but the actual like process parts that I'm not going to film, because I have found that, or I found last year that there just wasn't setting aside the time to be in a place to have it all set up to film, not get interrupted, not stop halfway through. Like it wasn't going to happen. So, okay. Tangent over. Wow, y'all, 20 minutes in. Okay, let's talk about this topic. So, y'all know I try to avoid using the word should, but one of the most common questions I get is, how many goals should I have? I get this question all the time. How many? And even if they don't use the word should, I get like, how many goals is the best number of goals? How many goals, do you recommend? How many goals? Blah, 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 all these things. And I wish I could create a quiz for you, like a la like a magazine quiz. How many hours do you work? How many kids do you have? What's your job? Like all these things, right? I could ask you all these questions and just like spit out a number that's like, you should have this many goals, right? How cool would that be? Unfortunately, there is no right number for everyone. Hence the new appendix. If you have not watched any of the videos about my goal planner this year, the goal planner in the main pages is set up for 8 goals, but there is a whole appendix that I built that you can have anywhere from 3 to 7. It's the same pages, but adjusted for the number of goals. That way you can print out the page that makes sense for you and your goals. So there's just not a right number. And I even hesitate, truthfully, including 8 because I think 8 can be a lot, but there's a lot of things to think about. And that's what I'm going to go through today. I'm going to share some things to think about, some questions to ask yourself as you're determining how many goals you want in 2024, 2025. Not how many goals you should have, not how many goals I recommend, how many goals is best for you. But before we do that, I would like to talk about this visual. And if you have been on any one of my goal setting calls, I've shared this visual in a number of places before. And if I had more time or capacity today, I would figure out how to get them to pop up individually on here, but I did not today. So here's where we're at. So the purpose of this visual is to remind you that you can have as many goals as you want, but you only have so much capacity to make progress on goals in general. And so the more goals that you have, the slower your progress. Imagine this is not there. The slower your progress is going to be. So let's walk through this. Each of these little yellow boxes represents progress that you're going to make on a goal. And let's say for the year that you have the capacity to make 24 yellow boxes of progress. This is arbitrary. Are you with me here? Like it doesn't represent any, it's not hours. It's just 24 little progress blocks. That's how much progress. And yes, we picked 24 because it is pretty with math. You have 24 progress blocks. If you decide that in 2025, you're going all in on one goal, you are just going to stay focused on one individual goal, and that is it. That's your only priority. You are going to get to apply all 24 of your progress blocks on that one goal. And you're going to make a lot of progress, right? That's 24 progress blocks worth of progress. Now let's say, okay, I cannot focus on one goal. I couldn't. Personally, my personality, I would get bored. I would it just wouldn't work for me. So let's say I want to know that I want to have more than one, but I still want to be picky and I want to prioritize. So I'm going to focus on 3 goals. Now you're going to make 8 progress blocks worth of progress on each of those goals. Just because you have more goals doesn't mean you suddenly have more capacity, right? More goals doesn't mean more progress in your total progress bucket. You cannot think that the same version of you is going to make the same progress on one goal is going to make the exact same progress on 3 goals. You're just not. There's just not enough hours in the day. There's not enough energy in your tank. There's not enough money in the world. There's just not. So if you have more goals, your progress is going to get cut. Now, is it necessarily going to get cut evenly like that? No, not necessarily. You may have 3 goals where one is pretty small and only takes 4 progress blocks, and another one is pretty small and only takes 6 progress blocks, and then you put 14 towards the remaining. My math is right. And so you're like, Laken, I can make 14 on this one. Yeah, but you're and maybe not sacrificing, but you're picking smaller goals that are going to take up less of your progress. We keep moving up in the scale. Let's say, okay, 3 goals doesn't feel right. I go through all my prep work. I answer all the questions, and there's really like 6 things that are jumping out at me to prioritize in 2025. You got to totally have 6 goals. That's total. That was like my sweet spot number for a lot of years. If you have been around watching my goal progress videos, I did 6 for a long time. And if you break that down evenly, you're cutting it in half again. So you're not again, we did cut it in thirds. Now we're cutting it in half. You're going to make 4 progress blocks worth of progress on each of those goals. That's still progress. 4 is a lot higher than 0. You could still make progress, but it is not near as much progress as if you only had 3, and definitely not as much progress as if you only had 1. The last component is 8, which is, again, the number that the Goals with Laken Planner is set up for, but I very much encourage you to use the appendix and have less goals if you want. Or a lot of planners that have categories, 8 seems to be the common number. Totally fine. If you want to focus on 8 goals, 8 areas of life, etc., awesome. You're going to have 3 progress blocks per area of life. Once again, you can divvy them up however you want. And let's say that you're like, okay, I don't want to give up on all of them, but I want to go all in on like 2. And I want the other ones to all be like the bare minimum. So let's say you only dedicate one progress block to 6 of the 8 areas, and then you have 11 each for the remaining. Awesome. That you could totally do that. But keep in mind, 11 each for those other ones is still a lot less than if you were to just focus on those 2. Also, that math did not math, Laken. It's not 11. What's the number? 6 minus, it's 9. The number is 9. If you did 1 in 6 of them, and then if you are not a math person, you're not following along, I get it. All this to say, this is all just like theoretical looking at blocks. The more goals you have, the less progress you're going to make on each individual goal. Okay. All right. Let's talk about 3 questions, 3 things to actually think about when you're trying to make this decision. What do your resources look like for next year? What is your capacity? You are going to have to guess a little bit, right? You're only going to know so much when you're making these decisions in December, and that's what refreshes are for. But ultimately, in general, do you expect 2025 to look and feel very similar to 2024? Do you expect to have a big life change that's going to take up a lot of your capacity? Are you moving or having a baby or getting married, changing jobs, like getting a master's degree? Is there something that's going to throw off your year next year? Is there going to be more resources, right? Is there something that's changing behind the scenes that you're going to open up time? Maybe your spouse is going to cut back their hours at work, and so you're going to have a little bit more capacity there. Maybe your little one is going off to school, and now they're going to be in kindergarten 5 days a week. I can't imagine the emotional. I know that's not a change from December to January. I get it. But so let's say that change happened this year, right? Your little one went off to kindergarten in September. So now next year, you're going to have a little one that's in school a lot of the time. Do you suddenly have more of a capacity? This is a generic, again, I wish I could give you a quiz that you get to like plop in pretty answers and like it spits out the number of goals. That's not how it works. It's just a generic question for you to think about as you're trying to figure out how many goals approximately do I want to focus on? The next question is, how specific are you getting? If we go back to our little visual here, that's not very little. When you have goals that are vague, the number of progress blocks you need to achieve that goal is infinite. It could be, you can make 1 block of progress or you can make 100, right? If you are specific, it's going to need a specific amount of progress. Now, that could be a specific small amount, or it could be a specific big amount. So if you are specific, it's going to be easier for you to potentially estimate how many goals you can add. But it works both ways, because if you are vague, you could have more goals and know that your progress is just going to be slower, right? Let me give you an example. If you say, I'm going to read 50 books next year, you could calculate that, right? You could do the math and figure out, approximately what length of books you're reading, approximately how fast you read equals approximately this many hours of reading or listening. However, and so then you could know how much of your capacity it's going to take up. And again, I'm not trying to get you to like do math and calculations, but like if you are in general spending a certain amount on goals and you are setting a reading goal, you could rough estimate how much of your goal time you're spending on reading. Now, if you decide to be more vague and you just say, I want to read more, that's fine. You guys know that I don't feel like you need super, super specific goals. I think you need specific action steps, but I don't think you need specific goals. Then that opens it up a little bit more for you to have some other goals that you can incorporate as well without putting as much of a strain on your resources. And then I'm just going to leave this up here because the last question is, how much progress do you want to make? And these questions are not necessarily ones you can answer right this second. It's going to take a little bit of reflection, the whole going through all the prep work. Whatever goal planner you're using comes with some kind of prep work. And when you get to the point that you have your general ideas, like these are the things I'd like to focus on, right? Maybe after going through all that prep work, you come out with 4 It's not even one of the options on the screen. You come out and decide that you have 4 things you want to focus on in 25. How much progress do you want to make? Are you comfortable having that amount of progress on each of those goals? Or would you rather cut one of those goals and make your progress more? Right? That is a personal decision that I cannot answer for you. Um, there is no right or wrong. Like, there are pros and cons, I believe personally, to all the options, right? On one end, if I have a lot of goals, I won't get bored. I have lots of options, lots of action steps. I don't feel like doing something, I'm gonna pivot, do something else. The con is that I'm not going to make as much progress, right? And then the other end of the spectrum is the same way. You pick one goal and you are all in on that one goal next year, you are going to make so much progress. But then you might get sick of that goal. And there might be days that you're like, I don't want to do that. It's just a decision that you have to make. But the best part is that you can always change your mind, right? You get to decide in December, November. Some of you have already started working on your goals for next year, but for most of us, December. You're going to decide, I want this many goals. And then let's say after Q1, and we're about to refresh for Q2, something big changed, something unexpected, something you weren't expecting to happen. You get to change your mind. You need to add a new goal. You need to take one away. You want to make one more specific. You want to make one more vague. This is why checking in with our annual goals is part of the quarterly refresh. This is why you need to decide if the annual goals you picked in December still make sense for your life in March, in June, and September. That is why that component of the quarterly refresh is built in. It's because you're allowed to always change your mind. So, I know I've referenced it a lot here. The Goals with Laken Planner is available. You can get the whole year. You can get just Q1 if you're not sure. You can get just the prep work if you're interested in that. But I wanted to quickly answer. There's a question I've been getting a lot in various places. I've gotten it in the DM. I got it on the community call. The planner is not going to be on sale on Black Friday, just the goal setting workshops. And when I say Black Friday is happening early here in our world. It's going to be next Friday, November 22nd, will be Black Friday for us. But the planner's not going to be on sale, just the goal setting workshops. So I get that question a lot. Okay. Any questions, thoughts on this? I'm team vague yearly goals and then get more specific quarterly, monthly. Totally. Me too, for the most part. Any questions, comments on this? Guys, I just realized that I have food on my shirt. You can't see it. Luckily, it's below the screen. But my toddler got food on me. You guys, I'm a mess over here. Okay, hopefully this was helpful. Let's move on to our Q&A time. The rest of this time is yours. I am here for another 30 minutes. You're welcome to ask any questions that are on your mind. It can be about your individual goals or struggles. I promise. I don't care that if you're asking a question so specific to your life, somebody else is going to benefit as well. It can be about a topic that you want to chat about. If you don't know how to phrase it to a question, you can just put topic and like whatever the topic is, or whatever's on your mind, whatever y'all want to chat about. I'm here. Let's chat. I've got a relatively full cup of coffee. I put up my little Christmas tree decor. So that's cute and fun. And also I meant to wear like a Christmas shirt and use a Christmas mug because, well, first off, I put up my decorations. Not sorry. I am very happy to have them up and it makes me very happy. But there's only one more live this year. Sorry. Yeah. Next year. Or next week. Next year. Until next year. Next week is our last live until next year. Because the next week is Thanksgiving. And then I'm not going live in December because of Vlogmas. So I wanted to use like my Christmas stuff, but I forgot. But at least I put that up. So cute. So cute. What else? What's on your mind? What do you guys want to talk about? So many of you here and nobody has any questions. Come on. It can be literally about anything. Here we go. Momentum. How to get back to a regular practice after a setback away from a goal where some momentum had been built. Thought you might have a video about the specific topic, but I wasn't able to find one. This is how I know you've been around for a while. So there is a video on this topic, but it is titled Motivation because everybody asks about motivation. And I always tell you that the answer is momentum. But so I will link it for you after the live is over. But if you search motivation, you'll be able to find it. But let's talk about it anyway. The first thing I want to tell you is the piece of this question that makes me the happiest is that you have built it up before. So you know that you can. Like maybe more than half, like some percent of goal setting is confidence and knowing that you can do it. Like you can do it. I know that you can do it. I didn't put on a mug that all goals are achievable. Like they are. You can do it. You have done it before and you can do it again. The hard part about doing it before, having done it before, is you immediately want to jump back in to the level you were at before. So let's do a specific example, and you don't have to share your specific goal, but let's use an example of reading. I feel like reading is always a really easy, I can use it as an example for a lot of things. So let's say that you were reading consistently 30 minutes before bed every night. You were getting in bed, you had a nice routine, and you were in bed, cozy. You would read for 30 minutes and you'd go to bed, and it was great. And then you went on vacation, right? Setbacks from goals aren't always necessarily like you failed or quit or something. It could be you literally just went on vacation, right? And you didn't read on vacation because by the time you got back in bed, you were exhausted and you just went to sleep, or you were sharing a room with someone else and it just didn't work, whatever. Doesn't matter. What we try to do is jump right back in to where we started before. Well, I was doing 30 minutes, so of course now I'm going to do 30 minutes. And maybe that first night you do 30 minutes and then the next night it's really hard, because going from 0 to 30 is really hard. So what I would encourage you to do is remember the confidence that you can get there, but don't put pressure on yourself to do exactly what you were doing before. Take a step back, start at a smaller step, and set a goal to do 5 minutes. I'm going to read 5 minutes before bed. You set a timer, you do it for 5 minutes. You consistently do that for a week. Then the next week, maybe you miss a day because life happens. Then you stayed up late and watched Thursday Night Football. I don't know. The next week, you set a goal and you do 10 minutes. That one's a little bit tougher. Some nights are better than others. So you do it again. You do another week at 10 minutes until you build your way back up. The best way to build momentum is action. And the best way to build action is by starting small. That's the crux of it. The struggle is when you've done it before. You try to start big because you're like, I've done big before, whatever big is. And then it's harder. So make it small, and jump back in and know that you can do it. It's a great question. In the workshop, do you share ideas for goals? Yes and no. By the way, Deborah, I'm assuming you're asking about the 2025 goal setting workshops. If you haven't heard me talk about these, I think I deleted the picture with the dates on it. I do these every year where I host goal setting workshops in December that are meant to help you get set up for the year and prepare all your goals for the year. Part of that is doing the prep work and the questions and whatever goal planner you've chosen to use for the year. Those, I intend and hope that the prep work that you do helps you figure out what goals you want to work on, right? And so I'm not necessarily here to give you ideas for goals, because I want those ideas to come out of your own individual prep work. That said, I'm going to guide you through that, right? Guide you through taking the information from the prep work and turning them into goals, taking the ideas and turning them into specific goals. What we talked about last week is like taking the general big idea and turning it into a specific goal. That's literally the biggest component of session 2. And then the other component that is makes this answer yes is people sharing. And I said this on Instagram, but I want more of that this year. I think when you community members share your individual goals and your light bulb moments and the things that you figure out about your goals, um, and you share them, it gives other people ideas. Not like, oh, let me do that exact same thing. Like, oh, you said that this works for you in your life, and like I could do it, but tweak it this way. It's just the best. And so I'm going to continue to encourage, and even more so encourage people to share this year. So in that way, yes, there will be ideas. The last thing I will say to answer this question is during the workshops, I am there for you. And what that means is when I go give you time to go work on a question or to go break down a goal, I'm in the chat. And if you need help in that moment, breaking down a goal, figuring out how to word it into something, etc., like that, um, that is what I'm there for. And so I can help you with ideas when when we're there live together. Now, if you can't join live, no big deal. I understand that the times they're just not going to work for everybody. That's how life is. But hopefully you like between the guidance of the workshop and people sharing that it would be helpful to figure out what your goals are. I feel like I wrapped that up poorly, but hopefully that answered your question, Deborah. Let me also say, if you need like specific ideas for action steps and goals, I'm going to point you back to there were a series that I did. I did the same kind of series twice, but I think that they're both very helpful and they're different on specific action steps, like on goals. So let's say you have a budgeting goal. I did a whole video with action step ideas for budgeting. And I think that those videos are very helpful in terms of ideas. Thanks for the pep talk. I needed that. Okay, I'm glad that was helpful. And this comment is on that prior question. I do this with physical therapy sessions at home and walks around the neighborhood. I find a way to say, yes, I have done that today. Then I do it again the next time and a bit more. Yes. And the story that always hits home for me, y'all, when it comes to talking about like doing really small steps is in the Lazy Genius way. She talks about how she wanted to start doing yoga and she literally started by doing it one downward dog. Like that's all she did for like a year. That was her small step, one downward dog, that's one pose. And then she was able to build that up into something more something bigger. So even like if you are trying to come up with a small step to kickstart your momentum and it feels too small, it's probably just right. It's okay to start too small. Okay, Linda, one area I want to get better is with my morning, evening, and movement routines. Do I lump this into one goal? Not sure how to phrase them into an overarching goal. So there's two components here, right? Do you put them together? And then what do you call it if you do? So I'm going to start by the lumping them together. Very much goes with our topic for today. If you are lumping them together, let me rephrase this. Do you want to start them all at the same time, which I would not necessarily recommend. But if all you wanted to do in 2025 were these, like if that's all you wanted to do and not do any other goals, then I would keep them separate. And then if these are all that you're focusing on, there is a scenario where you could start them all at the beginning effectively and it still work out. However, if you are lumping them all together, and having 6 or 7 other goals, that's fine. But then I would not recommend that you start them all on day one. I would recommend that you pick one that you start with in January and solidify that one. And then you pick one that you layer on, maybe not even until Q2, right? So on and so forth. I say this with all the love in the world. Routines are so much bigger goals than we give them credit for. Routines are just compilations of other action steps. So it's a lot. They're a lot of work. And so if we say, well, I can lump them all together because they're all routines, but then I have 6 or 7 other goals, that's a lot. Like that's just a lot. And if you have a lot of capacity, I know that there are members of our community who have the capacity to dedicate that much attention, resource, energy, time to goals. Awesome. But for most of us, that is a lot. And so that is how I would answer that first question is if you plan to have, and you don't have to answer this right now, Linda, right? You could go through more prep work before you make that decision. But if you ultimately decide that like these are going to be your number one priority and you may have one or two other things you're working on, then I would split them up and I would make them their own goals. Um, and then, but if you are going to have lots of other things, then I would lump them together and not start them all at the same time. And then if you lump them together, we also don't need to overcomplicate phrasing them. I did a live. Was it earlier this year or sometime last year? That was about like wording, like how to pick words for goals. And we don't need to overthink it. Like, yes, words have power 100%. But if we spend all of our time, like, remember the year I decided all my goals needed to be alliterations, like, that's a waste of time, in my humble opinion. So sorry, I'm trying to read the comments and I need to distract myself. Describe what's important to you about it. What's important about your morning, evening, and movement routines. And if you literally could just call them like routines goal. Like it doesn't have to be that overcomplicated. Hopefully that was helpful. I see Jamie's comment. That was one of my goals this year, and I called it starting and ending my days well. I love that. As a yearly goal, and then broke it down to focus on a couple of steps of each routine per quarter or month. I put movement under a different goal because it fell under a different why. Being healthy versus feeling ready for the day night. That is so interesting. Thank you for sharing, Jamie. I think that that's a helpful way to think about it is like, what's the why that's important for you, Linda, with your routines? And if your movement routine lumps in with your morning or evening routine, then that may work better for you. Or like Jamie, if there's a reason to split it out, you split it out. That is the beauty of everything is different for all of us. I feel like all of my goals is to create peaceful routines in your life. I love that, Nicole. That's fine. That sounds great. If all of your goals could, truthfully, I think all of our goals point towards being happier. like if I had to like break the crux of my mission down into one, it's to help make people happier. And I think goals are how you get there. The end. I think we all deserve, what did I call the video a couple weeks ago? A life that you like. And I think goals are how you create that. So I love it. Kayla, how can I decide what water bottle to use to drink more water? There is not a magic water bottle that is going to help you drink more water. I hate to break it to you. Pick a water bottle that you like and that provides the features that you like in water. Y'all, I'm laughing because you remember the live, y'all, where we all shared how we like our water. I said that the best way for you to drink more water is to drink it in a way that you like. Okay. By the way, this is coming from a mindset, habit, tip brain, not a health person brain. That said, do you like your water? What temperature? Do you like your water? Cold, room temperature, a little bit like super cold, medium cold, whatever. Temperature. Bubbly or not bubbly? Bubbly water counts. Stay hydrated. Flavored or not flavored? And by flavored, I mean not with additives, but like, some fruit. Straw, no straw. That's it. I like my water plain, still, ice cold with a straw. That is my water. My water bottle provides a space for me to have my plain and still. Really, it's like if you want it not plain, you need one of those water bottles that has like the place for the fruit. I don't know if there's really a special water bottle for still versus sparkling. I like my water ice cold, so I need something that keeps it cold and it has a straw. That my dad uses the same water bottle. Guess what? My dad doesn't like a straw. So he takes his straw out and he does not use a straw. My mom doesn't like her water room temperature. So she uses the same water bottle that I use. Yes, apparently we're a whole family of Owala users. But she does not put ice in hers. She just gets it cold from the sink. And then like the temperature that it keeps it at is good enough for her. My stepmom, she has a different water bottle. She likes hers bubbly. plain and bubbly, also with a straw. So that whatever water bottle is going to support the way that you like to drink water. And as always, just like we were talking about with the momentum question, with water, you've got to start with where you're at. You are not going to jump from drinking a half of a thing per day to 5. That's a lot. You're going to spend the whole day in the bathroom. If you are currently drinking half of one of these, set a goal to drink 1. Once you consistently do that, then you can level it up. Okay. Just a friendly reminder. Note from my dentist, bubbles make the water acidic. So if you drink sparkling water, make sure to either drink it fast or use a mouthwash so it doesn't break down the enamel in your teeth. Thank you for sharing that, Jamie. I have never been a bubbles person. I don't like soda. I don't like bubbly water. I like the taste of beer, but I can only have like one, and then I just too many bubbles. So I did not know this. So thank you. I think from like a health perspective, a health person can correct me if I'm wrong. And I always want to point you to my friend Justina's channel. If you're looking for like nutrition and fitness facts in a helpful YouTube setting, my friend Justina's YouTube channel is my recommendation. That like drinking bubbly water is, you're still getting hydrated, is my understanding, but it apparently is not great for your teeth. I'm your mom, room temperature is fine. Yeah. Everybody's different. Everybody is different. Everybody likes their water different, and that's okay. It's beautiful. But don't try to force somebody else's water preferences on your own. Also, my daughter also has one of these water bottles. She gets hers not ice cold. Y'all, I'm just funny. Would the workshops help with making small steps? Absolutely. That is what session 3 is all about. So very quick rundown. Session 1 is all the prep work and the questions, reflection on 2024, prep work and questions, regardless of what goal planner you use, or just a notebook. You can come with a notebook. Workshop 2, week 2, is prioritization. So basically the crux of this video is narrowing down how many goals you're going to have, and then defining those goals, which is what we talked about last week, getting really clear on what those goals mean to you. Workshop 3 is breaking them down. And that's what what you asked here, Kayla, is making small steps. We're going to break down. I'm going to go through the how to break them down. And then you're going to have actual time with me in the chat to help you if you need. We're going to have people share all the things, and we're going to break our goals down into really small steps. Yes. I like cold water, but it has to be in relation to the outside temperature. So I don't mind more room temperature in the winter, but it has to be basically ice in the summer. That's hilarious, Jamie. That's awesome. Like, full circle goes back to what I was talking about earlier with December Daily. We have to know ourselves, right? You got to know what works for you to help with your goals. Any other questions? We still have a couple more minutes. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? All right. If there are no last minute questions, I'm going to ask you my last question. Oh, here, really quick before we do this. First off, Jen, thank you for including your name. I like to have a water container that allows for easy measuring and cleaning. I measure the container the first time and then multiply that each refill. Yes. If measuring in ounces is important to you, that's something to keep in mind. I think these are 24. Yeah, 24 ounces. Also, another quick reminder while we're talking about this, measuring water, do it in a way that's easy for you. If ounces is easy for you, do that. For most of us, ounces is difficult. And so I would always recommend just like vehicles, right? Like my goal is to drink 3 of these per day. Great. And if I do 2 and a little bit, like I don't actually care how much it is, right? My goal is to hit 3, and that's my goal. I also do not get granular with ice. I used to try to like oh my gosh, who was I? If the ice melts and I get a little bit more that day, or the ice doesn't melt and I got a little bit less, like close enough. Last question. The workshops will go on sale next Friday as part of my Black Friday sale. So the 22nd, when they go on sale, they will be on sale. Like it will be a Black Friday sale through Monday the 25th. So if you sign up from Friday to Monday, they will be 50% off. And then they will still be open. Like you can still sign up until, I think I left them up till like June this year. I don't think anybody bought them after like March. They will stay up through at some point next year, but they just won't be on a discount. Okay. Last question for you. What is the one thing you're going to do this week to make progress on your goals? What's the one step you're going to take to keep going and keep making small progress? Mine's the same as my win, y'all. It's one day at a time over here in one nap land. Oh, I really do appreciate all the solidarity DMs I got on Instagram, though. I'm glad it's not just me. Put up your Christmas tree. Nicole, we need to buy them if we're in the community? Great question. It is yes. These are no longer within the community. They are their own separate thing, but the community members will have an additional discount on top of the Black Friday. So just as a community member, make sure you keep an eye out for that discount code. Work out one time on my own, attend a co-writing session on Friday. Oh my gosh. Small step is to finish the baby blanket. Oh, Jamie, that's so sweet. Yes, I know. She's already on one nap. Stop. It's going way too fast, y'all. Listen to last night's community call. One workout, even quick each day. Yes, I talked myself into 10 minutes this morning, y'all. It felt so good. I was like, just do 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Going to the craft group at the library. That is so fun. All right, y'all. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. I would appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe if you're new here. And since we're talking about numbers, I was going to do like a number emoji, but I actually want to ask you a question. If you made it all the way to the end, I want you to share down in the comments, how many goals did you have in 24? What was your number? What was your number in 24? Mine was 4. We'll see what happens in 2025. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all for hanging out, and I will see all of you next week.